hello, and welcome to the Luxury Lounge. That's right, every Thursday we head in the lounge, we shut the door, and we air our grievances with the world. And there's no grievance that's too big or too small or too frivolous. It is your problem, and it shall be heard. Now, if you are a big fan of the Luxury Lounge, I want to make sure you know about the Patreon version. This one, Shelby chooses the emails. I have no control over that. The Patreon version, every complaint gets read every week. So if you want to sign up for that, $5 a month for 2 extra podcasts a week. I do Coffee with JTrain, which is basically just me telling stories. And then it's the Luxury Lounge every Friday. Patreon.com/Jared Freed, Patreon.com/Jared Freed. That is the first announcement. The second announcement is I am on the road. I'm doing stand-up. I'm going to be in Nashville this week. And if you're listening now, I'm in Nashtown. Come on out. Assemble the group chat. I'm going to be in Stamford, Connecticut, Raleigh, North Carolina, Lexington, Kentucky. It's so hard to say that name. Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm adding dates all the time. There's more to come. JaredFreed.com, JaredFreed.com. Also want to thank you. Yeah, I got into the plugs first. We'll do the thank you second. Thank you for being a listener. I love doing the Luxury Lounge. I love that you guys enjoy the safe space to air any complaint you'd like. Nobody's going to look at you and say, there's bigger problem. No, The only problem is your problem here in the lounge. So keep sending them in. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com, JTrainPodcast@gmail.com, title it Luxury Lounge. Let us know what you're talking about. Luxury Lounge, ba-da-da-da. Luxury Lounge, ah-da-da-da. That's how you title it, so we know what you're getting into. Very excited about today's guest. I think this is their first time in the confines of the lounge, but back in the JCU, the JTrain Cinematic Universe. Hilarious comic. She is the co-host of the Lady Journey podcast with Katie Hannigan, who was just on Monday's episode. It's a Lady Journey week here. Sarah Tollemache, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Jared. Thanks for having me.
Of course, and congratulations, you're pregnant.
I am. I'm in the sweet spot right now. No more first trimester.
So I don't know what that means because I'm new to the pregnant. I'm an amateur when it comes to the pregnant world. So the first trimester, is that the sickness part? Is that the morning sickness issue?
Yeah.
What are you getting out of?
I never threw up, but I was just constantly nauseous the whole time, and I kind of wish I had to throw up because at least you can have relief from that. And then you're tired, and then you're kind of just weirded out that you've got this thing growing inside of you.
Yeah, human growing inside it. Very sci-fi.
Yes. It's because you can see the spinal cord and you're like, oh, I think it's getting its spinal cord right now.
Oh my God. That gives me the heebie-jeebies just hearing that. I've never even heard the word spinal cord in relation to a baby until just now. This is the first I've ever heard of such a description.
Yeah, it's like when you start seeing it in the ultrasound, when it starts taking human form, it really does look like that Geiger drawing for aliens.
Taking human form is such a funny thing that you don't. This is the thing when when your peers, when your friends, when your people your age start having the kids, you start hearing kids described in this very real and matter-of-fact way that when you're a child, oh, the baby, and also when you're in high school, don't have a baby, wear a condom. Then it becomes this real thing, and you just hear people go taking human form, and you're like, man, it is. This is different. This feels different.
Yeah, and also when you start learning all this stuff, or going through it, you realize how little sex education you know.
Oh, I know nothing. Listen. I ask every woman I've ever hooked up with. I'm fingering a belly button, being like, "Are you coming yet?" I know so little that you actually, I think especially from the male side of things, I think men just live in fear, because they don't know anything. Women, even just into adult years, women have 3 doctors that they know on a personal basis and have vetted out. I'm getting a finger stuck up my ass in an alley by any fucking janitor. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we just have no relation to doctor world at all. I think that we just generally just fearful.
I kind of had the man view or like point of view that way too.
Yeah.
I never really had doctors until this came about. Like maybe a dentist.
Till the spinal cord started developing.
Well, I did fertility and then like IVF treatments. And that was the first time that I saw a doctor. Like beforehand, when I would go to OBGYN, it would always be like the cheap version. And I swear the one I went to in Astoria, I never met her. It was just technicians that were taking care of me the whole time.
That's
she was
so
like
funny.
Like a Wizard of Oz entity where I'm like, am I ever going to meet this elusive Dr. Andrea? And I never did.
Wow. So you just had like her underlings.
Yeah. It was so bizarre. I called it the DMV of OBGYN in Astoria. Like it was glass, like when you go in to sign up, just glass partitions everywhere and then a shit ton of seats and then people just slowly making their way up. And I was like, I kind of want more of an individual experience rather than the general public situation.
It was a OBGYN / liquor store that also sold lottery tickets. Yeah, this is great. Yes. I relate to that. That doctor experience is mine. Just like they're like, do you have a doctor? I'm like, whoever's ready. Let's get this going.
Anyone in like scrubs, I'll take. That was my because I would only just go to like City MD, and that you're like, I never looked at anybody's credentials. No, it could have been any murderer could have stepped up just to take me into their hands. I'm excited to have you here. I gotta assume there's got to be some pregnant complaints. Like the problem with being pregnant, I would assume, is like you always have to end any complaint of pregnancy with, as long as the baby's healthy. Yes. I fucking hate that. Of course. In what world is that not the undertone of every complaint? I don't know why people say that shit. Yeah. You're like, that is given. Nobody's kind of wishing for spina bifida or anything like that. Or like hoping that's what happens. Yeah, you're like, that's the base level. I guess it's weird because now I'm all like, what I'm taking in pregnancy social media content. Like that's all my For You page. And it's so fascinating. There'll be parents being like, here's how I get my baby to sleep. And then you go to the comments and it's all like, your baby will die if it fucking sleeps like this. Oh my God. Like everyone's like, anything that's with baby, like they will die because of it. Like everything's getting recalled back. It's like they're always killing themselves. We're living in hell. We're living in legit hell. Like you go and make a joke, someone goes on. Like we thought being offended was bad. How about, I just tucked my baby and tucked it in. What are you doing? It's going to be suffocating it. Right. Like, oh my God. No wonder everyone's just like living in hell. Like it's just mental hell. I can't imagine. Let's get to the complaints because we want to complain. We got so many great emails. Sarah's podcast called Lady Journey. I think it's great. You and Katie, such funny comics. Sarah's on there at Tollemache. It'll be all over my social medias, her Instagram, her YouTube. She has a special out on YouTube called Voluptuous Boy. It's out there. Go watch or listen on wherever you go listen to music and watch things. It's all out there. Sarah's hilarious at Tollemache on all the platforms. Before we get into it, I'm very excited. We are, it's wedding season. Yes. You and I were at Anthony DeVito's wedding, and weddings are fun. You get to dress up, hit an open bar, dance the night away, but between the gifts, hotel, and babysitter, weddings can also be super expensive. What you don't need to spend a ton on is an amazing custom-fitted suit. Here's the thing about a wedding. Listen, they're going to center on Indochino is great. Indochino will give you the perfect look at an awesome price. They're gonna like get into price. I'm going to get into mental health. Because if you have a wedding coming up, it's on your mind. Does the suit fit? Does the suit fit? And you actually, what I do, I don't try it on. I just let that sit and burrow in the back of my brain. And then you get to the week of and you put it on. You have that magic moment of like doing the zipper and the button. And it is, that is truly the worst experience of your life. Here's something. Give yourself the gift of comfort and
ease and knowledge that you have a suit that fits well, looks great, and you got it at the right price. Because you can customize every detail on your suit, shirt, dinner jacket, and more for an outfit you're going to love to wear over and over again. Indochino, they even have tuxes starting at just $5.79. Instead of renting a mediocre suit that only kind of fits, you can customize your own tux to perfectly fit your body and style. To really up your wardrobe game, check out Indochino's custom-fitted shirts and casual wear. They're always adding new pieces, so it's easy to stay on trend and in style. So people, this is an opportunity to get a great suit that looks good, not because it's high end, because it's made for you. RSVP knowing you've got the perfect look all wedding season long from Indochino. Go to Indochino.com and use code JTrain to get 10% off any purchase of $3.99 or more. That's INDOCHINO.com, promo code JTrain, Indochino.com, code JTrain. I love that sponsor. Perfect time of year. Here with Sarah Tollemache. Let's get to the complaints. I'll start with mine. Hit the music. Jared, he has some problems. Jared, he's got some issues to do. Get off his chest right now. Jared has a lot of issues. Jared has a issue with a lot of things that we can discuss. Can you relate to the problem now? Okay. Do you take cabs, Sarah, or do you take Ubers?
I can't find cabs as much anymore in the city.
Right.
Like they're not readily available. So I'm on Lyft. I can't get back into my Uber. I've forgotten my passcode a million times and they've just kind of like locked me out. So
really?
I've always been a Lyft girl. Also, you get Delta perks with Lyft.
I'm a big Lyft guy. Delta perks, I'm all in that game. There is a moment where I do yearn for the old days of the cab days. And I do and I mentioned this on the last podcast, but I really want to center in on something very specific. Because when you get into the cab, you do have this moment, and I don't know if it's been a while for you, but you do have this moment where I'm going to 3rd Ave, 19th Street and 3rd Avenue. And they go, got it. And they go, which way you want to go? And you go, take a right here, take a left here. And you go, wow, I feel like a New Yorker. I feel good about this. And it does feel like you're helping the dodo bird. You're helping something that might be going extinct, the yellow cab experience. And there's something just truly nice about and again, we go in Ubers, we go in Lyfts, and you go, oh, it's so nice. I never even have to look this person in the eye. But then there is that moment you go, I like that I'm having this interpersonal exchange.
Yes. I hate Lyft price gouges, which is so frustrating to me. Cabs don't do that.
No, the cab price is pretty consistent. You know what you're getting. So you're like, I'm saving money. I'm a part of New York. I'm doing the whole thing. And then they have tap to pay. And when you go to tap to pay, I would say 1 out of 3 times it will say contactless limit has been exceeded. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't know why they're doing this to us. And again, this is the difference between taking your wallet out of your pocket and not. You would say, Jared, what are you you're lazy. No. I am used to getting in an Uber, stepping out, no money, just get the hell out of my car. Yeah. If you are going to compete with Uber, Lyft, and we're going to do the favor of hailing the cab and not knowing if there's going to be one and walking outside in the middle of the street, getting our arm taken off, you need to get to Uber level, Lyft level. And the minute I go to my wallet is the minute I'm like, what the fuck did I just do to my life?
Yeah. Well, and then doesn't it feel like you were more likely to leave stuff in a cab than you were in a Lyft?
Absolutely, because you got to take things out of your pocket. You have to make this whole exchange. And because of this contactless limit, what's the limit? Why is there a limit? You go to London, you go to Europe, you're tapping all day long. I don't know how Europe got ahead of us on the tap game, but the idea that you have this number out there that you're not allowed to go above, who is in the office saying to people, oh, we got to keep this? Because it feels like an old school way to look at things. No one is there going, wait a minute, we are fucking ourselves. And I've had conversations with friends about this contactless limit, and it's like, why? There's no explanation. And I said something to the driver last time. I go, hey man, what is the contactless limit? He goes, what do you mean? And I go, why do I have to take out my credit card? Why can't I just tap? He goes, can you just pay? Like he didn't even. Yeah.
He's like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? No answer.
That one is so, I've never dealt with something like that. And that just seems so asinine that they would put like, you have a certain amount of times that you can tap something.
Right. And you go, are you even trying to stay alive? Are you trying to keep a business here? Like I can only feel so bad for someone who won't help themselves.
Yeah, Joe and I talk about this, and I know Nate Bargatze has a great joke about this of mom and pop businesses. So you're wanting to support. So Joe goes into this weekend, who's my husband, to buy a card for a friend of ours that's going away. So he goes to the mom and pop place, closed on Sunday. Right, you're out. I tried at noon. There was another one, like there's restaurants I keep trying to go to, and then I swear every day of the week I go, they're just closed, and you're like, and they never update Google about this. But yeah, there's businesses where you're like, dude, I am trying to give you money and you just don't want it.
Right. I literally walk out of the mom and pop and go right on Amazon on my phone. Like it's over. You have one shot. And the moment you're not helping me, like you have to be even with these places. You can't be below, or you can't be 30 below. You have to be right around. You got to give me an opportunity to help you. And like, listen, I'm with you. I want to support the mom and pop. I want to go to the restaurant that has again, it's also our generation's fault. The mom and pop place, their kids were like, fuck you. I'm becoming a coder. I'm out of here. Yeah. So there's no kid at the register anymore. They're just gone.
Yeah. And then also like rent is just so high here in New York where you're like, how can they afford wages?
Right. The only places that stay in business in New York anymore are banks, weed dispensaries,
fronts. I'm like,
and psychic readings somehow. Yeah. I don't know how.
You're like, where is this supplied by the mafia? Like, how are you guys sustaining this business model?
Can't believe it. Can't understand it. Sarah Tollemache, let's go to your complaint. Hit the music. It's the guest's turn to complain. They're ready to jump in. They've got lots of problems too. It ain't all about Jared. Let's hear their complaint of the day. Let's hear their complaint of the day. They're invited on the show to have some fun and complain with you. Let's hear that complaint. Okay, go ahead.
So my complaint lately, I've always, moving to New York, I've been here for almost 15 years. It's always been the romantic notion of diners. New York diners are so great. I kind of can get into the atmosphere, but I have to say every meal that I've had at a diner, I'm like, mediocre. So mediocre. Like, and then it's expensive now. Like I got like salad and a soup, and I think it was close to like $30 that I'm like, I'd rather go to a steakhouse if this is what I'm doing.
The diners are so expensive. And again, this goes back to the mom and pop thing, where it's like, I want to be a part of the New York thing. I came to a diner, couple eggs, slice of bacon. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
They give you that check. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Shock. Omelets are $30. $30 seems to be the going rate for everything at a diner.
Yeah. It's lukewarm, and it looks like it's been under a heat lamp for days.
Right. And especially a salad, they'll just give you a bucket of romaine. You're like, This is too much romaine.
Part, they're not even green. It's all like the vein and it's white. You're like,
yeah,
this is just water that you gave me.
Right. They went to another restaurant and they got all their bottom halves of the romaine to serve at their place. Yeah, you're
supposed to throw that away or start a new plant with it.
They should call them trash bins is what these places are more than they are diners. Yeah, the diner experience has gone downhill, and like it is this thing of like it's almost like you're paying to be at Disney World. They're like they think like, oh, you're at a diner, it's cute. Look at this. No, the chairs are uncomfortable. The place is dirty. The people who work there are animals and assholes. And then you give you a check they're always mean, and then it's always a scribbled check that says 6062, and you're like, how did this happen? What did I just get taken advantage of sexually? Like what went on here?
I'm like, guys, can we print this? Do you have a touch screen POV system here or a POS system? You've got like it's always handwritten, and it's just like one line, like a signature is every item that you're like, this doesn't, I can't even figure out how to divide this amongst friends right now.
Right. We don't even know it. I don't even know what the number is, but I'm giving you a card just hoping to trust you. And why should we trust you? You just gave us the ass of a romaine, and these cookies have been out since 1962. It has gone so the way of these diners, and I don't know how they stay in business. I guess like you wonder what the rent situation is there. Is it one person working all the time? What's going on?
Maybe it's like protected by historical landmarks now or something. Like I don't get it. Out of all the meals at a diner though, I do say I can enjoy a breakfast, but anything after that, and then it's always like, wait, how, if you guys have, I'm saying hundreds of items on the menu, how can it be that your shrimp is good?
No, nothing's good. The breakfast is okay. I'm with you. The breakfast is way more expensive than what you actually want. Yeah. Like you go there, because I go there for like health reasons. I'm like, I know I can get an egg white omelet. I know I can get that and get out of there. But you are paying for the ability to get this, and it's just never, everything's bad, so nothing, they have everything, so everything's bad. It just can't be good.
Well, like sometimes I romanticize about getting like a piece of like a pot, like piece of pie or something or cake. And then even that experience with coffee, I'm just like, this cake is dry. I swear it's been here for a week. Everything's so much sugar in it, I can't even taste any ingredients in here.
The coffee is so bad, it tastes like they took a dump and then just like took water and like just roasted the dump. Let it sit there. JTrain podcast at gmail.com, JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Here with Sarah Tollemache. Go follow at Stolemache on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Lady Journey. That's the podcast every Tuesday. Go, go, go. Let's get to the emails. You ready?
Yes.
Luxury Lounge. Passport name change. Jared, longtime listener, can't wait to see you in Nashville. My complaint is twofold. When you get married, the amount of paperwork a woman must do to change her last name, why can't the government give you all name change paperwork when you receive a marriage certificate? 2, I travel internationally relatively frequently and still have my old last name on my passport. I would like to get it changed. However, it takes 8 years to get your new passport in the mail, and I don't want to miss an opportunity to fly out of the country. When I went to submit my paperwork for an expedited passport, they disclosed that summer season is busy and I can't be guaranteed to receive the passport in the 6-week rush period. So what is the point of paying the extra money? Sincerely, catching impatient feelings and not flights. What do you think, Sarah Tollemache?
Well, I went through something similar. I got married. I thought, okay, I'll change my name. I didn't have the time to go to every single government agency that there was. Right. I found a service online. I filled out all the paperwork, and then I just mailed it with all my documents, which now in hindsight is stupid. I never got anything back. I was like, oh my God, everything's lost. I feel this lady's pain, and I want to say, don't even change your name. You can just tell people that's your name and they can go with it. You can sign off, but don't change any of your documents, government documents. It's not worth it.
You can spiritually change the name and not physically.
Correct.
I'm with you. I got a new passport it is a weird feeling because we are in between analog and digital. It is a weird feeling to just send it off and hope you did everything correct. Because that's a lot of these things. A lot of these things are just mail it in and then fingers crossed. Like there's no like online, like you want to do this online. Like we have been conditioned to get a little, you've filled in the application. Like we've been conditioned to live in a world where we are given the gentle hug of green check mark at the end of every turn. And then all of a sudden when it comes to government documents, we're just giving it to a pigeon who flies to Washington.
And that paperwork is so like convoluted, and you're like, well, I guess I could be this. I mean, or I could be this. I don't know. Because that's what happened to me. I thought I filled out everything correctly, and because I didn't check off one box, they kept it. And so when I had to go back, I had to start all over from scratch and get all my documents back. So I went to Social Security Administration, and then they were like, actually, we have all your paperwork. And so I checked off that my passport was missing, and then I forgot to check it back. So when I got all my paperwork back and just decided not to change my name, I 6 months later, I went to Paris with Joe, and I forgot to say that my passport wasn't missing or get it new. And I was detained, and they were going to send me right back. So that's why after with this complaint on email, I'm like, don't just change your name spiritually.
Right. And you know what? Here's what I'll say, and this might be controversial. You know what annoys me most about this complaint? I don't like when I hear terms and then I hear the wrong reason. I guess what I'm trying to say, this is the patriarchy. Like this is an example. This is an example that you've got me sold on. I'm here for someone's plight. But sometimes the plight has the wrong marketing. Like no one's trying to sell people. Like the person that would hate the word the patriarchy, if you gave them this explanation, they would go, I get the patriarchy. Like your most misogynistic man, if given this example, instead of like, no, men make this or no. Stop with your examples that aren't convincing the people that disagree with you. This is the example where like, I don't know, like I couldn't see your most misogynistic, hey toots type of dude. How would they ever refute that this is a harder life for a woman than it is a man? This is the example, because they use examples that like are tired, that don't really sell anybody, that the people who disagree with you are always going to disagree with you. Here's an example where you go, this is the patriarchy at work. The fact that like she gets married and then he's like, isn't marriage great? And she's got her hair pulled out and she's like, I don't even got a name,
Yeah. I don't even know where all my government documents are.
Right.
It's like, this is actually like a tangible complaint. Cause like you can argue about like stuff with patriarchy, and then somebody has a lot of outlier examples and you're like, okay, that's true. Yeah, I can see that point. But this is like something you're like, no man would ever want to deal with in this amount of administrative tasks.
Absolutely. It's clean, it's simple, and it's making me mad at women.
Yeah.
Like I'm angry that they're not, because it's like when defund the police starts. You're like, okay, the liberals are like in charge of Hollywood, of all our story making, of all of our like of every type of fairy tale. Every commercial is made by some liberal person, and then they go to defund the police. You're like, that was the big that was the confusing fucking thing that you came out with, like the mismessaging, it's like
just chaos, absolute chaos.
Right, like this is how you're selling people? What are you talking about? Isn't this the same group that wrote ba-da-da-da-da, I'm loving it? You're the ones that came up with you go, I'm mad at you about this hard, like this is a perfect example of patriarchy. JTrain podcast at gmail.com, JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Here is Sarah Tollemache at Tollemache on Instagram, on YouTube. The special Voluptuous Boy, you came on when it came out. It's out there. Voluptuous Boy, great name. I love the name Voluptuous.
Thank you.
It's all good. Luxury lounge. High-rise living at a cost. Jared. Fellow Bostonian here. My boyfriend and I live in a luxury building on the 26th floor in Boston, right next to TD Garden. Okay. Whenever the Bruins or Celtics have a home game, it's a zoo right outside of our building.
I've been there.
You've been there. You know what they're talking about.
Yeah. It's chaos.
It's chaos, and the area is fun, but it's chaos. This comes with the price of the location we live in, and we get that. But the worst part is it happens constantly. It's not a huge deal when we are just home and not even fazed by it because we are so high up. Don't hear a sound and don't have to deal with the crowds. What bothers us is anytime we have to drive somewhere or come home around when a game just ended. The traffic is horrible. But that's not even the worst part. We pay to park our car in the garage in our building, which is crazy expensive, might I add. But every single time there are a bunch of cars parked right outside the entrance to our garage, blocking our access. Ubers or any other cars waiting to pick people up after the game. It's absurd. So we can't get into our garage because there are multiple cars blocking our entrance. So a giant game of Tetris unravels with cars trying to move out of our way, and it's a shit show. All we want to do is go home, and these assholes block the entrance to our fancy garage. It's insanity, and I wish we could complain to our building about it to do something, but they already do. There are plenty of signs saying to not block the garage access, yet people do it anyways. It's just ridiculous. Thanks for listening. Sarah Tollemache, what do you think?
I think it's a logical complaint.
Right.
I would not know how to handle this properly. I mean, the only thing I can do is just tell that you're going to tow them. Is that fucked up?
Listen, let's get the tow truck involved. I agree. Here's the biggest problem they have.
Let's do scare tactics.
Right. Let's get the tow truck waiting there.
Boot them or something, just so it's like a common annoyance for them as well.
Yeah, have them waiting with the boot in hand. Like, have the tow truck just sitting there waiting. I'd pay them $50. Just, hey, you're going to make money. You're going to get people. We can work together. Like, this is a kickback.
Yeah.
I'll open up a spot for you. I'll tell you what nights to be there. They wait there with, like, the boot in hand, like, smashing against their fist. Here's the most annoying part, and I will say this because they can't.
Okay.
The worst people are coming to your front door. It is sports fanatics. They're all hammered. They're all having their big night out. They're coming from areas of town and outskirts and suburbs. You wouldn't even make eye contact with these people on a regular basis. Do you see who goes to a Yankee game? Do you see who goes to a Mets game? Do you see who goes to a football game, a Bruins game, a basketball game? Nobody at a basketball. The people at a basketball game that you're complaining about are the people that are the most hated, vile, horrible people of our society. They're the most disgusting. It's not the people in the box or the luxury box because they're getting out of there. They got parking spots. You're talking about the peasants that are showing up and they're getting hammered. And they don't care about their own lives. They don't care about your life. You're dealing with toddlers running around with, their heads cut off.
And they're drunk.
And they're drunk. It is the worst, regular season basketball attendee who's like pumped for a game on a Wednesday, you wouldn't want to deal with in any other place of life. And they're basically saying, come on over to the bottom floor of my apartment every night. This is a horrific issue.
It is, because it's also like this emailer, if they were to complain to around this group of people, these sports fanatics, they'd be like, you do it in the Boston accent, and they're like, well, this is what you pay for, honey.
Right. You don't like the Celtics? You're not a fan? Yeah. You don't like Tatum? Oh, I guess you hate Boston. It's like, no, I hate you. Right. It becomes this personal thing, and it's like even them in their email, they're dancing around they're like, oh, no, we know that it's a game, and we appreciate. No. These people fucking suck. They don't play for the team. The team doesn't give a shit about them. They're wearing jerseys and hockey masks as if they're on the team. They're losers, okay? And they're taking up your parking spot. They can't even stay out of the way of a parking garage. What are you, an animal? You gonna park in front of a parking garage?
Yeah, no, it's also like these are just pig-headed people too, because it's like you probably talk to them about their diet and they just won't change it, so they'll probably die early, or
They don't care about their own lives. They're driving home drunk too. These are, I don't know, the whole like
losing battle.
It's a losing battle. You're gonna sound like the anti-Boston. What you end up sounding like is like Fraser Crane. Like you're the highfalutin. I go to the, there's no way to not sound like, because there's no reasonable sports fan. They're like, what, you don't like Boston? You're not a Celtics fan? What about team pride? It's like, we're not the same fucking high school, buddy. Like, I just want to go home on a Wednesday and eat my salad with my husband.
But it's also like, can't you guys just like part? It's not that much of a space to get your car unless these people have Hummers.
Right. No, they all have the worst cars. They all have Hummers. They're all, it's 30 of them just going to the game. Oh, I guess you hate the Bruins. No, sports and dogs, pets and sports. People they're not in a similar argument with you. They're going, but it's the game. And it's like, no, it's a Tuesday night. It's not the game.
Yeah.
JTrain podcast.
We're in mid-season.
Right.
There's 20 more games. We're not even close to winning right now.
Right. You don't even know the score of the game. You got too hammered. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Here's Sarah Tollemache at Tollemache. Let's go. Before we get into this, we're sponsored. This summer, it's not about the size of those cannonballs. It's about making a splash with our friends at Manscaped. Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need for beachside grooming. The package includes the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserve Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Toner, and Performance Boxer Briefs. I love Manscaped and what they're doing because basically, especially for men, there's very little time, very little like is made about our, going to making the bathroom your own spa. And with Manscaped, you get the whole package and you feel pretty good. You get to use all the products. You get to, you can shave downstairs. You can get your whole body shaved ready and feel good about going to the beach and feel good that you've been taken care of. And if you have a man in your life, this is a great gift. This is a great, way to say something without having to say something. Maybe you're stuck in the thicket that's going on down there. You want to get out the hedges. This is a nice gift. Be as smooth as a shark this summer with the entire line of Manscaped products. 20% off and free shipping with the code JTrain at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code JTrain. Manscaped, the perfect way to get your patties sizzling hot this summer. Okay, here with Sarah Tollemache. Luxury Lounge. My butt deserves better. What a great transition. We go from balls to butt.
Yeah. Almost same real estate.
That's right. Jared and Guest. I pay for a monthly membership at an infrared sauna place. It's stupid expensive, and for the most part, it's worth every penny. You enter the place, and it smells like eucalyptus and mint, and they hand you a fragrant cold towel for after you sweat. Then you proceed to your private room. Each sauna has a lovely changing area with towels and wrap. And then you enter your private sauna that's already about 159 degrees with some different lighting options which each have alleged unique healing powers. I love this, as well as built-in Bluetooth speakers so I can relax to the soothing sound of your voice giving advice to the world. So they're in the sauna listening to this podcast right now. There's just one flaw, the seating. In the sauna, you have only a towel to spread out over a wooden bench. I'm 5'4", and even for me, the bench is not deep enough. It's also too high. So if I just sit on it normally, my feet dangle off the floor. That's crazy. So typically, I put my back against the side wall and my legs up onto the bench. Within 5 minutes, my butt is asleep. It's like sitting on a futon without a mattress. This is horrible. Besides being soaked in toxin-releasing sweat within minutes, I'm in a constant state of fidget. I spend most of my 45 minutes trying to find a comfortable position. Would it kill them to provide a cushion to sit on? You reserve a specific room each time so they always know who is going to be where on a specific day and time. I would gladly pay a few extra dollars as a monthly member to have my own designated cushion, easy to clean rooms, and whatnot, which is probably why they don't provide something like this in general. But it would be great to have the option. And I don't feel like I should have to remember to bring my own, like I'm headed to sit on metal bleachers at a Little League game, but I might need to do that in the end. I know you share my love for amenities, so I hope you can relate to my woes. Thank you for giving us the safe space. Sincerely, Sweaty and Fidgety. What do you think, Sarah Tollemache?
Well, this is one of my main areas. Any place that has poor seating and that's what you're there to do. It's like I get this way with airlines. I'm like spending all this money and you've created the most uncomfortable seat ever.
Right.
Is there a way to create it with towels, or do you only get one towel? Like, I feel like you can fold a towel and make it comfortable on the seat.
Well, I guess the issue, like to me, if how the seat is this tall and has so little to sit on is crazy. Maybe they fear people falling asleep in the sauna. And they're like, we need to make this uncomfortable.
Kind of like what they do to make sure that homeless people don't sleep on benches.
Right. They put up like a little like divider in them. They make them like impossible to sit on. That's the only reason. I would need to know that's the reason. Like if I went to the front desk and I was like, what's with the seating here? And they're like, we had someone fall asleep 10 years ago. We had to make it less comfortable. They died. I go, all right, I'll back away from this argument. What they need to do is talk to management. And I would and be open and honest, but also let them talk themselves into it. Go, what's with the seating here? And then they go, well, what do you mean? Nobody else is uncomfortable? Nobody else is, it's a little too high off the ground. There's not enough, my ass doesn't fit on the seat. Yeah. What's going on? I want answers. It backwards.
Yeah. I think that it probably is to make sure that nobody's falling asleep and dying in there.
Right.
Sometimes I think people, when something is made, they haven't tested out their own product.
I agree with you. And that's what's so frustrating about this is like you have created a high-end space. This person says this is a luxury. They're putting money into it on a monthly basis. I think that they were like, you coming to our place, we got the eucalyptus, we got the infrared, we got the Bluetooth. And they're like, what could be wrong? And it's like, you forgot the main fucking thing here.
We're sitting.
Right. I'm not standing in a sauna for 45 minutes. This is crazy. No.
If y'all wanted to do that, I'd work in a sweatshop.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like this is supposed to be luxury, not a job for me.
You're right. There is a choice between two things. It is, I have a monthly membership to a sauna place, or I go work in a sweatshop in Indonesia. Those are the two choices. I agree with your first piece of advice. I think what you do is you bring so many towels in there that they go, what the fuck is going on? Why all the towels? They have to question it.
Yes.
Right? They have to go. And no conversation, just like, hey, do you have 10 towels? And they're like, 10 towels? And you go, they go, you must get sweaty. No, I got to create a couch in there because there's nowhere to sit.
You made the most uncomfortable room ever.
Right.
Just say you have sciatic nerve problems, because I dealt with that, and sitting on stuff like that is so painful, and it takes away from the comfort. And then just talk about your back pain the whole entire time to the front staff, because nobody likes to hear about back pain.
Everyone, because no one can relate to it. If they don't have it, they go, I don't know what to do.
Boring as shit, right. And there's no empathy, and they don't have the energy to muster that up for you.
Absolutely.
So talk about your back pain ad nauseum to them.
Talk about your back pain. I'll have 30 towels. Create a towel fort couch situation. They walk in. They go, what's going on here? I guess we may, though the hint will be sent.
Yes. I'm just picturing like a little hamster home inside the sauna.
You're burrowed underneath. They're like, is everything okay in there? You stick
great.
Your head out. You're like, I'm okay. Like under the blanket. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Here is Sarah Tollemache at Stolemache on Instagram, on YouTube. Luxury Lounge selling expensive china. JTrain Feather. I have a luxury lounge complaint. My father recently passed away. Rest in peace. We're sorry. And I've been talking to my mom a lot about when she passes. Oh, this is a fun couple months for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, so let's talk about your death. She has always told me that my inheritance is over in the china cabinet. Oy, that's a...
Ooh, is there money in the teapot?
Right, please. I would be annoyed at this unless there was $1 million in a teapot. Yeah.
Yeah.
When my mom was younger, she owned a shop with my grandmother. They went to world fairs and collected authentic, sometimes one of one, hand-painted Hungarian china at wholesale prices. Some pieces are valued at thousands of dollars for a plate, a teapot, or a porcelain animal figurine. My luxury complaint is that I have to sell all this stuff in order to get my inheritance. As if dealing with all the post-death stuff isn't hard enough, I have to sell this china. Thanks for all you do. I agree with them. What do you think? This is horrible. I got a job.
And then I feel like the mom is going to have like a destination funeral where you have to spread the ashes on a mountain. Like everything's just complicated for you. Right. I agree. I mean, it sucks to bring this up and you're like, I don't know what the exchange rate on China to cash is. Like, totally. Obviously I'm going to lose quite a bit of money. I have to get a seller or like percentage goes to Etsy or something stupid.
You know, it's funny. I totally agree. This is a horrible problem. The fact that you have to become a China dealer on the day of her death is crazy. How about she has an expertise in this? Why isn't she helping you sell it now? And that's the most annoying part is that this woman, her mom, gets to live in the luxurious naivete that is... That's $1 million waiting for you. It's like asking someone how much they weigh. We have a idea of how much we weigh in our mind's eye that is pleasant to us, that is good to me. My idea of how much I weigh is a nice number for me to hear that I've come to terms with. Her idea of what this porcelain is going to go for is way more and comforting to her, but it's not living in reality. So she'd rather not know the reality than have to deal with what the actual amount is. That's probably not that much, because I think that's what she's avoiding. She's avoiding that this china might just be 10 grand. And she gets to go, look at, you get to, there's your inheritance. And it's like, well, we'll see what that is now. Because she should help her sell this stuff.
I fear we might be dealing with the Beanie Baby situation. Like, right. How do we know that this hasn't depreciated or like this isn't going to get like, the mom doesn't
want to know. The mom doesn't want to know. She wants to sit there and be like, I did my generous job. Mom. I did my job. There it is. And it's like, okay, so if that's the inheritance, let's get moving. Let's get to the Antiques Roadshow. Let's go start selling our wares. Come on. Get my back wrinkles. We're going to the Roadshow fair. We're going to start selling, China. Let's go.
I know. Let's just start doing the research. Blue Book. Let's figure this out. Like, right. And then maybe I can start putting that money into investments and then I can get a return rate on something.
Well, that's the thing, is this might actually be a blessing in disguise because there's not a lot to do with your dying old mom. So now you guys can take an hour a week and let's do porcelain. It's a bonding time. Let's do China time.
Yeah.
Once a week, we get together and we're going to start doing the accounting and finding. And here's the other thing. You got to pay someone to sell this on the market. Like there's someone out there like an Etsy. You're not going to just go on Etsy and get what you want. Like I would need to hire like a China dealer to come in and you got to pay that person. And let's start assessing what this is. So at least I know what I'm going to be coming into. And that's the real issue is she wants to know and this grandma doesn't want to know at all.
Yeah. I think grandma thinks that she's sitting on a gold mine
right. When really it's just tchotchkes. It's just junk.
It is.
One of one. Like my dad always said, one of one is fine. Like, ooh, like they went to world fairs and collected authentic, sometimes one of one pan-painted Hungarian china at wholesale prices. Okay. This is only worth what someone will pay for it. So I hope there's someone in Hungary that's like in need of these one of ones, but maybe they're not out there. I would want to know.
Yeah. It just feels like This is such a burden.
It's right.
Yeah.
Not only do you lose your mom, but you gain a job. It is horrific. JTrain podcast.
Big job too.
A job you know nothing about. Mm-hmm. Hey, mom's dead. Now you get to become I don't know, like a map maker. You know,
you have to be like an art history major in order to know like where this stands in the world of art and porcelain.
JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Here with Sarah Tollemache at Stolemache, the Lady Journey podcast every Tuesday. The Big Apple without a side of ranch. JTrain and guest. I've thought about writing into the Luxury Lounge on many occasions, but none have seemed worthy until this horrifying situation. For context, I'm a travel nurse. Just last month moved to New York City for a contract. My complaint is simple. What the fuck is up with the ranch here? Being from the Midwest, ranch is a delicacy, a necessity for any and all things. It's a friend to a French fry, a necessity for any food coated in buffalo sauce, a companion for any form of chicken. It's what makes celery and carrots edible, and if the mood strikes, what I might want to dip my pizza in. I was told you can find any cuisine in New York City. So far, I've been horribly disappointed and honestly a bit offended of the so-called ranch. I've ordered ranch at least 5 to 6 different locations. The first time I thought it was a fluke, but each time has been a similar disappointment. The consistency is way too thick, almost like mayo or pudding. It has little to no flavor. Honestly, is it just mayo? It's disgusting. Ranch should have a ranch-like flavor, be thin and dunkable. I'm hurt and confused. I'm unable to enjoy my favorite foods without my favorite dipping companion. I know there are other fellow Midwesterners here that must feel the same. How could it be to make this condiment even noted in the New York Times as America's favorite flavor? Jared, if you don't understand, I challenge you to take a ranch taste test at your local sports bar in the city, and then again whenever your next show is out of town. Literally no other place I've been to, even outside of the Midwest, have I been so disgusted by the ranch. Thank you for hearing my complaint. Sincerely, lost without my sauce. What do you think, Sarah Tollemache? Have you noticed the ranch issues here?
I agree. There's certain things that I'm from Texas and coming to New York, you're told this is the food capital. And I know that ranch is, I want to say this is almost like an Are You Garbage situation,
right?
Not a luxury lounge, but it is funny and I'm all for it.
I'm for it. You know, listen, I totally agree. This is the thing is you expect the best here. And to walk into here and everywhere you go, the ranch is worse than the last place. And I would say they can't complain anywhere but here, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because everyone would look down on you. If someone came to me and was like, have you tried the ranch here? I'd be like, get out of here, hobo. Like, what's wrong with you? That's disgusting. Who talks about ranch?
It feels like you're telling people you didn't go to college.
Right. You can't even look to your right, look to your left. Someone's going to understand your ranch issues. No one will understand.
Not in this state. You'll get some outsiders that agree with you, but in silence, and they know not to talk about it. I get that way. Like you come to New York and you think, oh, I thought this was the city that had everything, and they don't. No. And they don't have good ranch. They don't serve iced tea, which to me, I love iced tea, but a lot of places will just give you hot tea with ice in it. And you're like, okay, I'll take it.
This
queso?
Is not.
Nobody knows how to do queso here.
Here's the thing. And I'll say it. I've lived here since 2007. Okay.
Yeah.
The food here is fine. Here's the food in New York. And this is the annoying part about their complaint is that we don't have the best. We have everything.
You have everything, and then you have great stuff that you can't find in other cities.
Sure, but even then, the Italian you're getting here, this is going to make people upset. But you can find great Italian, but you're just going to have less great Italian in other places. Like you're not going to have a Rayo's and an Emilio's Bellato and a what's it called? The one that everyone, the spicy rigatoni, Carbone.
Yeah.
And, the other place that's on down in the West Village that's really good. You're not going to have a bunch of options in another town. You will have just as good. That's the thing. So New York gets this hyped up thing about the food, and it's not that we have good stuff here, don't get me wrong. We just have everything. You can get Ethiopian on a Monday. You can get Chinese on a Tuesday. You can go all around the world in one city, and maybe you can't do that in other places. Maybe you have to seek those places out. So it's the reputation. You have been served the idea that the best ranch in the world would be here. It could happen. You might have more chances at ranch here, but it's probably not going to happen.
Well, I don't think the demand for ranch is high up here, where the reason why you're probably getting it better in the Midwest and the South is that you're getting a lot of people that go to restaurants specifically for ranch dressing.
Right. And
you're not the right one. If you're not making it right, then they're not going to go there. So you're going to lose money. So here, they're like, go fuck yourself. Here,
as we said, if you say the word, do you have any ranch? The whole restaurant will turn, look at you and go, ugh, and be disgusted with you.
Yeah. And ranch is great. I love ranch. And I know exactly what kind of consistency that she's talking about. If it's mayo thick, get off with that. It's got to be like a buttermilk consistency.
Right. And it is interesting. It's incentives. This is this is a game theory type of discussion that they're not even seeing. If no one asks for ranch, we will not make ranch better. There's a pizza place on the corner of where I live. It's on Hudson and Christopher, okay? It is the worst pizza I have ever had in New York City. It is the worst pizza I have ever had in New York City. I eat it once, twice a week when I'm hammered because it's the only place open. There is no reason for that pizza place because it's on Hudson and Christopher. It's in prime area where someone's going to want a slice when they're drunk. There is no reason for that place to ever improve their slice. I have no hope for it. I never see it. It's never going to happen because no one is going to not go to that place. People will always come to Hudson and Christopher and be hammered looking for pizza. The same with the ranch here. No one here is going to ask for better ranch, so better ranch will not be found.
Yeah, well, because it's expensive, and we got to be efficient here. I can't be making ranch to the top quality for one or two people that are coming in. Like it doesn't serve the restaurant.
Absolutely. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Here with Sarah Tollemache. Let's do one more. Okay. I'll give you the choice. Here are the titles.
Okay.
Unwanted hotel upgrades. The sky is falling. Audi cup holders.
I'm intrigued about Audi cup holders, but I feel like hotel perks might be relatable. Unwanted hotel perks.
Let's do unwanted hotel upgrades. We can get to those other ones in another episode. But I agree with you. The Audi one, it does spike my interest. Okay. Unwanted hotel upgrades. I think both of us understand hotel and upgrades and points.
Yes. Because they give you stuff and then you're like, I don't need this.
This isn't what I need. Yeah. Dear Jared and guest, we love the pod. Listen every week. My wife and I are currently on a 3-week honeymoon in Italy. We splurged on a travel agent who organized all activities, hotels, and meals. Given the luxury of this vacation, we cannot complain to friends and family, so we turn to the safe space of the lounge. We have been fortunate to stay in several nice hotels, but one of the hotels made the odd choice to upgrade us on only the final night of our stay there. Since the whole trip was planned in advance, we had to take this upgrade. This required us to pack 3 weeks worth of luggage to move to the suite for one night on a day where we had several activities planned. Upon arriving, we weren't that impressed with the suite because it was very similar to our previous room, but slightly larger. Most importantly, when we returned to the suite late that evening, my wife noticed a small door that seemed out of place. I investigated, assumed it was a closet. It turned out it was an unlocked entryway to another guest's room. It was hours after hours, so we called the hotel emergency line and explained that we did not feel safe with another guest having access to our room. They said to block the door with furniture, and we're not with furniture. My wife was previously been robbed in a hotel while she was sleeping and did not sleep at all that evening. We are already not thrilled with this inconvenient upgrade, but this left an even worse taste in our mouths. I mean, that's a very specific and crazy thing to happen. What do you think about this?
Well, I think it's on par, it sounds like, with European customer service. It's almost New York customer service, like, put it, like when you're dealing with your landlord, they just tell you, instead of fixing it, they're like, you have to do this for the rest of the time that you live here.
Right.
I'm also assuming like these hotels also used to be way older buildings. So they probably might not be aware that this door is unlocked or that can go into another place.
The door is crazy. The fact that it happened, that sucks. The most important part here is once I'm in the room, that matters more than whatever room I'm going to get. Unless your room...
I don't like moving.
No, I don't want to move. I get here. I want to unpack my stuff. I want to be good to go, know my place, know my room number. I don't have to remember a room number. I get it. And I don't believe for half a second that this upgrade was for these people. This upgrade was to help this hotel fit another person into the hotel and enjoy the upgrade. It's like, no. You got to bring in another person for a night and make more money because I would move. I wouldn't have moved. I would have said to them, I need to see what this room looks like. Because unless there's a machine that goes down on my wife and I in the middle of the night, I don't want to go there.
Yeah. It's just, I think you're absolutely right that this was probably a way to fix another error that had happened with another guest.
Absolutely.
Because it doesn't cost them anything to move you to another room. They'd rather get one more guest in than have an empty room.
Absolutely.
And that guest didn't want to stay in that room as well. They didn't want to pay the extra price for it or whatever. So they made it seem like it was a perk for you.
Or they got in there, they said, hey, the door isn't working. It lets other people in. There's just a revolving door in here. And then they're like, oh, no. Oh, my God. We got to fix that. Come on downstairs. And then they try to find a new person to trick into this room.
Yeah. Well, it's also insane to tell somebody just to put a chair or block it.
If I can lift up the chair, so can the murderer that's more incentivized than I am to move the chair. They're going to be okay.
Yeah. Are you telling this to every guest that stays in that room? Like, just block it. Why don't they just do this? Put a huge dresser in front of that door, and then probably most people wouldn't have known that there was a door behind there.
How about, just we give you a pen on the nightstand. Use that as a shiv. If anyone breaks in... Just murder that person with the pen. It's as easy as that. Like the idea that this is just, here's a simple solution.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're being difficult.
Yeah.
You need to murder. If there's an intruder, you need to murder them.
Ugh, we gave you the upgrade. Now you're coming to us saying that the door is open? Be thankful.
And then in Italy, you're like, I've seen how you guys handle Americans in murder cases, like the Amanda Knox situation. This does not end well for us.
Right. You guys, I don't think that I'm going to get a fair case or that this is going to be investigated correctly. Yeah, it's all horrific from here. Thanks, Italy. Sarah Tollemache, thank you for coming into the Luxury Lounge. So fantastic. Everyone go follow Sarah at Tollemache on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube. Specials out there, Voluptuous Boy, the podcast, Lady Journey. She does it with Katie Hannigan, who was just on Monday's episode. Fantastic. I'm Jared Freed. We're here every Thursday in the lounge. Keep sending your emails, jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. Back next week. Boom.